The ternary operator is a functionality that you will see in certain developers' code because it is the very fastest, simplest way to perform a comparison statement. Now, ternary comes from mathematics, and it refers to an expression that basically is looking at three particular pieces of information making a decision. So it's going to return one of two values depending on the value of a Boolean expression. So you've got two possible results, one Boolean expression, so there's your three values. Now here's the syntax of this. Very, very simple. Now some developers love this and use it all the time. You will see it in people's codes. Others fall into the camp of just write it as an if statement. It's easier for everybody to see and read and so forth. Now this is something you'll always get into with development. I really haven't mentioned it, but I always tell my development students, do not be intimidated by other developers. I don't know why it is, but if you put two developers in a room together, they will talk to each other until they find something to disagree about on however they code, what's the simplest way to do things. Go out there and Google. You'll find all kinds of examples of developers debating what's the best way to write a certain functionality. You'll see 9 different methods. They all work, and then everybody feels like theirs is the best. So understand what you're doing first and foremost, and then make sure that you write it as much as you can, the simplest way possible, but the most readable way possible, because you're going to have to come back in here in a few months and look at this. All right, so here's the syntax on this. Now that I'm off my soapbox, we've got a test condition that is going to be some sort of Boolean thing that will take us to true or false. Then we put the question mark, and then here's the result. The first result is what's going to be returned. If this Boolean is true, put a colon. And then the second result is what's going to happen if the Boolean comes out to be false. The Boolean value is false. Pretty straightforward. The best way to understand this and appreciate it is to see it in action. We will click on the Start button. We'll open Visual Studio, and we're going to name this particular project and solution Ternary Operator. So I'll do a new project here. Ternary. I'm from Tennessee, so you're going to hear a little accent slip out there, and don't let it bother you or throw you or irritate you or frustrate you. Just forgive me there. So accent aside, ternary, whatever you want to call this, very simple. Once you get used to coding these things, they kind of get into your blood, and it's a very quick way to determine certain aspects of your code into test conditions. And so I'm going to drop a button on here, double click that button, jump into my code behind editor, which is what we used to call this. You don't hear that term a whole lot anymore. So we're going to now, just in our button click, we're going to create an integer a and set that guy or gal, whatever, equal to 3. And then we're also going to create a string called result. And we won't set that to anything. Now we're going to write our ternary operator. We're going to set result equal to, we're going to say if a is less than 4, then return the string true. If not, return the string false. Pretty straightforward, right? Then we're going to jump down here and do our message box friend. And we're just simply going to ask the question, is a less than 47? And then we will just concatenate and put our result. Whoop, not resize. Put our result. Okay? So in this instance, is a less than 4? We're setting a equal to 3. So yes, so a is less than 4. We should get a true here. So we will run this, and we will see what happens. Take it a minute to compile up, and then once it does, we'll click our button, and yes, is a less than 47 true? Now let's go back. We'll kill this. Notice I can also hit the little square up here if it's still running and stop it. And so now let's make a equal to 23. Is it less than 4? No, it's not, so we should get a false. So we will run this one again. You'll notice after that first compilation, it's a little quicker. Is a less than 47? No, indeed it's not. Our a value was, as you can see here in the background, 23. So our code is working, and this little guy right here, this is your ternary operator, ternary operation, however you want to say that. Actually, the ternary operator is that question mark and the colon. That's a real quick look at ternary operator. Again, put this in your little coding toolbox. Pull it out when you need it.